Hello, and welcome to another episode of Homeschool Moms Unfiltered. We are your messy, imperfect homeschool mom friends. I'm your host, Amanda, and this is my amazing co-host.
Hello, I'm Meagan.
Perfect. All right, so today we have another little unfiltered bite for you, okay? So we're going to cover another one of those topics that comes up often, and we sort of discuss it, right? It's been sprinkled throughout various episodes over the last several months, but we never cover it well, right? Primarily because it isn't exactly a full hour-long episode, but it still deserves a little bit more focus than what we've given it when we've thrown it in here and there. So today's Unfiltered Bite is an intro to exploring national parks. This is going to be primarily the Meagan show because full disclosure, I went to Yosemite. We enjoyed it. I booked it at the last minute. Like I have no idea how I got an actual, we got a cancellation that was open in Curry Village and the tents, but truly it was absolute last minute. Like, hey, there's a long weekend in a couple weeks. You want to go to Yosemite? Like, sure, let's go. So yeah, tell us.
Okay. First of all, that's a miracle, and you should have played Lotto, the fact that happened, because that's almost impossible. I'm going to talk in a few minutes about Yosemite booking days. They are intense, and I don't mean intense, like the pun. So yeah, so that's that. And then the other thing is, it is definitely not your jam, because I could do a 1-hour episode just on my 3 favorite national parks, forget about all the others. So but we will condense it into an unfiltered bite today for anybody who is curious. And part of the reason, if you're wondering, why are we talking about national parks in December? There is a reason. It is because the U.S. national park campgrounds book on a rolling 6 months. So if you want to camp in the summer in one of the national parks, like one of the big, super popular, super famous ones, now is the time to plan. And so the most famous kind of big ones that are out there, right? You have Zion, you have Yellowstone, you have Arches, some of those, right? The pandemic really heightened people's awareness or interest in the national parks, which is a great thing. They're awesome and more people should enjoy them. But for those of us who loved them beforehand, we're kind of like, where'd all these people come from? So it has made getting a camping space a little bit more difficult. So yeah, rolling 6 months. There's a website called NPS, National Park Service, nps.gov. And almost all of your campsite reservations get pushed through there. Okay, so we'll talk about a couple of exceptions to that rule that I just told you. The first is Yosemite. Yosemite has special booking days because it is that popular. Okay. And is it that popular for good reason? Yeah, it's freaking awesome, right? Like everybody needs to find a time to go to Yosemite at some point in your life. It's amazing. So let's say you want to go to Yosemite in the month of July. Okay. There will be one booking day for the entire month of July, which is different than the other parks. The other parks, if you want to go camping on July 10th, you would book that out on January 10th. Okay, so it's a rolling 6 months. If you want to camp on the 12th, you'd book it on January 12th. Okay, Yosemite does not work like that. They open a 30-day window on one day of the month. And when you call the National Park 800 number on that day, the recorded message actually changes and says, today is a Yosemite booking day. Expect delays. So our strategy on Yosemite booking days is that every kid is at a computer at the time that the window opens. We have it pulled up. And the goal is just to grab whatever you possibly can. I'm like, I don't care. Typically, I'm looking at campsites and I'm like, oh, how close is it to the river? How far of a walk is it to the bathroom? Because you don't want to be too far of a walk to the bathroom, but you also don't want to be too close to a bathroom. That's not how Yosemite booking days work. Yosemite booking day is like, I don't care if it's in a dumpster with a bear, just book it. Just take what you can get. Okay. So that's how Yosemite works. Okay. The fact that you got one at the last minute, it's amazing. Okay. So that's Yosemite. There's a couple of other parks that have outsourced their campgrounds, Yellowstone being one of them. So Yellowstone does not work on the 6-month rule. We haven't been to Yellowstone in a number of years, but the last time I checked, it was working on a 12-month rolling calendar. And they book out early. Yellowstone is another Yosemite, super popular. Everybody wants to go see Old Faithful and some bison, so you got to book it early. I'm pretty sure theirs goes through Xanterra, which is a third-party contractor that won the government bid, and that's how you book it. So also amazing. Take what you can get. Okay. So yeah, there's a couple of those. I think Mesa Verde in Colorado works the same, but most national parks go through nps.gov. Okay. The other thing is, like we just talked about, some of the big parks, right? We've got Zion, we've got Yosemite, Yellowstone. Like these are the ones that so many people talk about. But there are some really awesome sites that are run by the National Park Service, and not all of them are even nature sites with big trees and cute streams running through them. There's tons of historical sites under the National Park Service. So I could maybe loop you back into the National Park Service through history, Amanda, since you have a history-loving kid, and since camping in the woods is not always your thing, right? So you can type into Google.
Or ever my thing.
You can type into Google NPS and then the name of a state. So you can type in NPS Illinois, NPS Mississippi, NPS whatever, right? North Dakota. And you will get not only the big parks, like the ones everybody talks about, but you're going to get historical sites. You're going to get Abraham Lincoln's home in Illinois. You're going to get the Tuskegee Airmen's Airfield in Alabama. You're going to find all these little historical sites that are there that are super awesome, right? Ellis Island falls under there in New York, right? One of the most awesome places. Oh my gosh, the audio tour is so good. So there's historical sites. When I'm planning a road trip, every state we drive through, I'm going to type in NPS and that state name. I want to know what national parks are there, and I want to figure it out early enough so I can make plans if we want to go visit. So does that sound more like your speed, Amanda?
Maybe for a little bit. For a little bit.
Like, fine. I'll go to a national park if you want me to. Okay. So there's so much out there. Okay. The national parks, on the whole, super budget friendly. So first of all, Obama passed a program called Every Kid in the Park a number of years ago, which provides every fourth grader in the US access to the national parks for free. And when we say fourth grader, it actually includes whoever's in the car with that fourth grader. The fee is by the carload. So if there's 10 of you in a car, all 10 of you are free with your fourth grader. You go on the website, you Google Every Kid in a Park, you go on the website, it says like, are you in fourth grade? And you say yes, and then it spits out a pass. No one ever checks if your kid's in the fourth grade. And we all know in homeschooling, grades are a little bit abstract, right? So in my mind, that's a third, fourth, and fifth grade pass. Okay, like it's okay, because your kid might be doing fourth grade language arts in the third grade, but they might be doing fourth grade math in the fourth grade. And then they might be doing fourth grade science in fifth grade. So they're still a fourth grader. I'm not breaking the rules here, but that's just how homeschooling works. Okay. No one asks. When you get to the gate, they're like, who's the fourth grader? And your kid's like, me. And then they wave you through. It's pretty straightforward. So that's an option. The other thing is to figure out, there's a list of disabilities or diagnoses that are associated with the National Park Service Access Pass. Okay. The only one that I know, there's two actually that I know. One is autism is one of the criteria or qualifications to get an access pass. Another is profound hearing loss or permanent hearing loss. And I'm assuming it would be the same for visual. The only reason I know about the hearing loss one is because of a friend's kiddo. So Access Pass is a lifetime pass to the National Park Service that is free. And the cool thing about the Access Pass is it gives you 50% off camping fees, which every kid in a park does not. You pay full price for camping. Full disclosure, camping in the national parks ranges from like $7 to $25 a night. So it's usually pretty budget friendly. It'd be different if you're doing like tents and stuff like Amanda did. That would be different. I'm talking like a here's your slab of dirt type of camping. Those are the fees associated with those. I've not done the other kind, so I'm not as familiar. Okay. Then once you're there, Junior Ranger program. You can go to the visitor center in the national park and you get your kiddo a Junior Ranger booklet. They also have now, and they've implemented this after we've kind of done every national park multiple times, but they have bark rangers now too, where your dog can get a badge. And I'm like, oh, why did they not have this during our national park heyday when my kids were younger? But you can go get yourself a Junior Ranger book for your kiddos, and it'll have all kinds of activities in there. They're broken out by age, and there's usually a symbol. So it'll be like a lantern for the smaller kids and a helmet for the bigger kids and like hiking boots for the older kids. And so based upon what age your kid is, there's a number of activities in the booklet that they have to complete. And when they've completed those numbers of activities, they can bring their booklet back to the visitor center. They turn it in, they raise their right hand and promise to protect the national parks and take care of nature. And then they get a cute little badge that looks very similar to the National Park Service ranger badges. It has the name of the park on it, etc., etc. It's super cool. My kiddo literally had the park ranger vest that they sell for Junior Ranger, and the hat covered in badges. He ran out of real estate on his badge and his hat because he had so many of them. My older kids just kind of like put them in their cubbies in the camper van, but younger kiddo liked to walk around with his on. And you had to see, like, he would walk around like the cat's pajamas, and people would be like, holy cow, look at how many badges that kid has. And he'd be like, yeah, that's me. So it's a pretty fun system. Sometimes some of the activities to get your badge would be like going on a nature walk with a park ranger, or going to a night program in one of the campgrounds where the rangers give a lecture on a particular topic. So sometimes the activities are done independently, and sometimes there's options to join an activity or sign up for something, but it's usually pretty flexible as far as how you want to combine the number that you need to get your badge. So pretty cool. The last thing that I have is, when in doubt, if you're trying to plan a trip to go to a national park and you're just not quite sure, call the park. Park rangers are like the librarians of the outdoors. They are so freaking helpful. They are so knowledgeable, and they love the park system, and they love the parks that they work in. Listen, they don't make a lot of money, so they do it because they love it. So call them. If you have questions about the park, they're like, I love this park, and I would like to tell you everything I've ever known about this and help you in any way I possibly can. So pick up the phone and call and ask. They will totally help you, which is pretty awesome. So now is the time to start planning for next summer. If you're listening to this when the episode launches in December, now is the time to plan for the following summer. But seriously, come join our Facebook group, come to one of our Patreon Q&As. I can put together a national park planning road trip like nobody's business. Like, Amanda can talk to you about ELA and math curriculum, and I cannot, but I can tell you how to get into Zion. It's going to be awesome. So come hang out with us.
Totally. All right. So that's just about it for this Unfiltered Bite. However, we do want to remind you that our Patreon memberships are on sale through January 4th, 2025. So you can get 50% off your first month of membership. We would love to have you join us. We're doing virtual community building. We have 2 events, live virtual events every month. And then there's also the monthly unit study that is themed and full of great information, takes all of the research off of your plate. We've vetted the sources. We feel really confident in them. To get that 50% off your first month, you can use code BITE50. That's BITE 50, and just use that at checkout. There'll be a link in the description here in the show notes as well for how to find our Patreon and the different levels. We have a regular level, there's a $5 just support level, and then there's the VIP level, which is a whopping $12, but the code works on all of the levels. So we'd love to have you join us over there on Patreon as well.
Yeah, come hang out with us. So that's it for us for today. We'd also love to invite you to join our Facebook group called Homeschool Moms Unfiltered on Facebook, and share your road schooling tips and tricks and your national park adventures and all that good kind of stuff. So we hope to see you there. And in the meantime, happy homeschooling.
Yeah, have a great one.